Every season has its pleasures that vary from country to country, such as France, Spain, Italy, among others, in our culinary series. But autumn is the crowning glory of the year. I'm Daisy Tanner. Taking us back to America for harvest, a time of gathering, is San Diego's extraordinary opera-singing chef, Elizabeth Pozziadlo. Welcome back to Pace TV. We are just delighted to have you here sharing your many talents with us.
Thank you, Daisy. I'm excited to be here, and have I got a dish for you. We're going to do a yam and apple gratin. It's a layered dish that starts with yams, apples, potatoes, pecans, and don't forget the thyme and sage lace butter. And I'm going to keep it vegetarian so that you can enjoy it yourself.
Oh, I appreciate that so much.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you. Well, I will give you the floor so you could fill the room with the delicious aroma as well as with your beautiful voice.
Thank you so much, Daisy. All right. Well, thank you. And I hope you'll come back for a sample. Okay. Well, this is my personal favorite time of the year. When we think of the first frost here in San Diego, believe it or not, we have a fall too where the leaves start turning. And if you're subtle, if it's all subtle changes, if you go out in your yard, you'll see spider webs laced with dew. Well, picture a fire at night, a dark sky, and I will sing you an aria called Strida la Vampa, sung by Azucena, whose mother was burned at the stake, and she will tell this scary story called Strida la Vampa. Those are the sparks flying up. And the story of that is the gypsy Azucena is by the fire, and she speaks of the whole story of how her mother was burned at the stake. Oh, it's horrible. But let's move on, shall we, to a beautiful autumn dish. And we are going to start out by lighting our fire and watching the sparks fly up. We'll turn her down here, have a medium heat, and I've got some butter in my pan. And what I have here on this board are some beautiful pecans, and I'm gonna give them a rough chop. What I'm making today is a gorgeous, gorgeous layered gratin. You like gratin, John?
Couldn't have anything better than that.
John Danke is my accompanist and pianist, and he's been with me for 8 years. And he's always right there when I'm ready to burst out in song. He kind of knows my every mind, my every thought at this point. Okay, so I'm giving these pecans a beautiful chop. All right, gorgeous, gorgeous. And don't worry about being perfect or making them too small. And what we're going to do is we're going to throw these into the butter. That's it. And we will get these sauteing. And what we want to do essentially is we want to coat these with a little butter and a little salt. The reason being is the dish I'm making today is actually going to be a vegetarian dish. Typically, I would put a little sausage in this, but I had a request to keep it vegetarian, and it's easy to do, especially with this dish. So what we're going to do is we're going to brown this just a little bit, get them salty, get them buttery, and while we're doing that, what we're going to do is start by peeling our yam. This is not a sweet potato, but it's a yam. And of all the vegetables in this recipe today, this is the only one I'm going to peel. All right. So we'll take all of this dark skin off of here. This will be great in my compost. I don't know how many of you keep a compost, but it's great for making your garden grow green. Yes, indeed. I'll put this is my compost bowl. We'll keep this for later. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to slice this yam with my mandolin slicer. Here's where the drama comes in. Will she slice off her fingers, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it is a fall show. A little blood. Sorry, couldn't resist. All right, so here we go. Notice I am not using a guard, making it very scary. A little sinistre, eh? So we're going to go ahead and keep this going. It's getting awfully close to my fingers. Ooh, the drama, the drama. Oh, just kidding. This is the fall show after all. Okay, we got a good bit of yam going on there. I'm going to take my heated pecans. They're coated with butter and salt. Set them over here for now. And now what I'm going to put on the stove is a pan that has some butter in it. And we're going to brown this butter. Get it melted, not brown it, but get it melted. We got that. And while we're waiting for that to happen, what we're going to do is peel an apple. How many of you have seen one of these guys? Apple peeler core slicer, I believe is what they call it. And let's see if we can get it to work on this show here today. Again, more drama, culinary drama. I can't stand the pressure. Okay, when you're using one of these things, if your apple is cockeyed, then you don't want to put it straight on the peeler because otherwise it'll peel cockeyed. So I put it on cockeyed, hopefully it'll peel straight. Now remember I told you, I'm not going to take the peel off, I'm just going to core this and slice it. Voila! Keep that going. Oh, beautiful fumes, fragrance. And there we've got a cored apple. You see that there? And then we're going to take this off. We'll put this over here for now. And we've got it. It's all ready, sliced. Wait till you see. Look at that. It's all sliced perfectly. So I really will look impressive. And notice I left the peel on. More vitamins. It'll be good, good, good. Okay. So what we're going to do is take our brush. Okay. And today I'm using a round baking dish, but honestly you could use a deep-sided round pan. That would be best, and that's what I made my final sample in. You'll see it later. So I'll take this and oh, before I do, we're going to add a little thyme to this and a little sage, so like a half a teaspoon to of each. Okay, and we're melting that in the butter. And also what we need is we'll take an orange, cut our orange in half here. And then we're going to ream a little juice into this pan. Gorgeous orange juice going into the butter to add a little extra moisture. Gorgeous. All right. So now we'll take this wonderful combination of butter and orange juice and herbs, and we will coat this beautiful baking dish like so. All right. The bottom layer will be coated with the butter. And now we start layering with the yams. Now, it doesn't matter if your yams aren't layered perfectly. No one's going to see the bottom. If you decide you want to invert this, you might want to line this with something like wax paper, and then you could invert it, but I never have. And you know, this dish is an excellent side dish to a fall meal, but it also could be just a gorgeous main course, even for, you know, vegetarian with or without the sausage. So we've got this all coated. Now a little more of the butter mixture with the orange juice, and I just kind of dot it. I don't want to go crazy here. I just want to dot it a little bit, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some pecans and just throw them on the top like so. The next thing we're going to do is actually put a layer of apples on top. The order really is entirely up to you. The next ingredient will be will be potatoes, russet potatoes, and you could layer them next if you wanted. But I like to put them on top of the apple. So we'll keep adding this gorgeous apple all the way around. Beautiful circular dish, and this recipe could not be simpler. Oh, how pretty. Now you see, you don't have to be perfect here. This is just exactly what you want. A little more butter, just a little. Be careful not to overdo the butter. This can get really rich, really fast. And so I'm just kind of dotting it. Yeah, it isn't good when it's too oily. Now we're going to slice a potato. More drama. Are we ready? This recipe is actually from my second book, The Last Aria. It's filled with autumn recipes. Ooh, came close there. So we're going to put some more pecans. We're moving pretty fast, but this is an easy dish and a fast dish to make. So we'll put a few more pecans on top of the apples now, so we got lots of gorgeous crunch. Okay. All right, we've got some crunch, but we've got more layering to do and a little more. Let's see, what do we put next? Potato. Hello. Now, there is butter on the pecans, right? And there is there is salt on the pecans, and there is salt in the butter. But when you have a lot of starches like these, they tend to be sweet. Of course, the yam is sweet, right? And of course, the potato, when it's baked, will have a little sweetness, and the apple too. So what we need to set that off is the salt. So now I have topped this completely with potatoes, and I'm going to take a little salt, especially because the potatoes tend to be in need of it. And again, we'll just do another little coating here of this beautiful butter mixture like so. I mean, what a gorgeous autumn dish. Now, at this point, if I was going to add sausage, this is when I would brown some sausage. You could do a turkey sausage or a good lean country sausage, nothing too fatty. And make sure it doesn't have too many preservatives in it. It's kind of hard to find a good sausage these days, but it's out there. So I'm going to layer. Oh, wait a minute. I want to put some more pecans on there. Never too many pecans, especially because we're not using that sausage. We want that crunch and that salty butteriness. Here we go. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Now you see, I've got the mandolin to make this easier, but you don't have to have one of those to make this work. But it's a good thing to have. And the apple peeler core slicer, these are just technicalities. You can do this without it. If your slices are not perfect, it doesn't matter. I'm quite certain no one from the Culinary Guild of America is going to come in and measure your slices. Could be wrong, though. I keep seeing this one guy around. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Okay, so I'm getting to where this is pretty full, and I think actually I like the amount of layers that I have here. So we'll get all of these beautiful. We want to fill it as much as we can, every little crack and groove. All right. All right, now we're going to take the final bit. Before we do, we'll take the butter. And I did not use all the butter, and I'm not sad about that. Again, I don't want it to be too oily. And what we're going to do is when I'm done with this, we are going to put this in a preheated 400-degree oven. We're going to cover it with foil, and we're going to allow it to bake for 35 minutes with the foil. We want that steam. But before we do that, we got to add the butter pecans. Do you say pecans or pecans? I just wonder how you all say it. I know somebody who always says pecans. Pecans. Okay. All right, now, here's the thing. We'll put a little bit of this in here. This is a Grand Marnier, but you could add, you know, any orange liqueur, you know, Cointreau, and you just want a little. So we're just going to add a little, or you don't have to add this at all. You could just add orange juice if you were so inclined, but I like the heat from this. Just a little. I like the smell of it too. Okay, now what we're going to do is take a little foil. Actually, what I've got here is one that was baked just a little earlier. Look how gorgeous that is. I'll switch places with this one. Meanwhile, I'm going to cover this with some foil, and we'll put this in the oven and we'll bake it for 30 minutes covered, and then we'll remove part of the cover and cook it another 15 minutes. But meanwhile, I sure hope Daisy can smell this from the outer studio. Maybe she can come on in and taste this with me. Because it is gorgeous. Hey, there you are.
Oh my goodness.
Excellent.
It smells delicious.
I am so excited about having you taste this, especially because you're going to be my guinea pig. I'm just kidding. I've made it before many times. Can you hand me that pie lift right there, Daisy?
Oh, yes.
I have good news for you.
Yes.
It's still warm, which is awesome. It's beautiful. So this is the layered gratin. And you know, the definition of a gratin is really something with a crust that gets browned on top. And I'm not sure whether it strictly applies to potatoes or not. And usually you'll have a specific French gratin dish that you will prepare it in. You know, me and my French, we all know that story. But anyway, that's essentially what a gratin is. And this one, again, you could layer it with meat, but we opted not to. And I think you'll find that it'll be quite satisfying.
And I must say, Elizabeth, I love watching you.
Oh, thank you.
You make it such a good...
Well, Daisy, we had a little bit of a moment here. I want to sing one more song for you.
Oh, absolutely.
I have it's a fall song, and it kind of, in my opinion, it's a fall song, and it talks of the night sky and the brilliance of the stars, and it's a thankful song. It's kind of a song of thanksgiving I'd like to share.
Well, I'll step aside.
Thank you so much. Okay. The Cloths of Heaven. The words are by Yeats.
Had I the heavens embroidered cloth, inwrought with golden and silver light, the blue and the dim and the dark cloths of night and light and the half light, I would spread the cloth under your feet. But I, being poor, have only my dreams. So I'll spread my dreams under your feet. Tread softly, tread softly, because you tread on my dreams.
Beautiful, John. Thank you. Well, we'll see if we can bring Daisy back to sample this beautiful dish.
Elizabeth, Elizabeth, that was lovely.
Thank
you.
you.
Have such a beautiful voice.
Thank you.
I can't sing a note.
Oh, but you dance.
I dance.
Yes. Well, that is I just love that song. I love the imagery of it, and I'm a big Yeats fan. Yeats, Yates. I'm not sure exactly how it's said.
Yeah, well.
Yes.
It's lovely.
Well, give her a try and see
One
if you
more?
can.
Oh.
Yeah, one more or the first one. Tender potatoes and apples. Oh, good job there.
Oh, this is lovely. Wow. We have a few seconds left, and oh my goodness, look at this yam you have over here.
It's a huge yam.
Is that something from your local farmer's market? that
No,
you have?
actually, it is not. I'm not sure if we
okay.
can find yams at our local farmer's market, but perhaps.
Oh, okay. Okay, now stay tuned. We'll be right back with Chef Elizabeth and her simple pleasures, along with her daughter Betsy.
Welcome to the Simple Pleasures portion of our program. This is, I must admit, my favorite section at the end of this little sweet surprise. And today I have a simple pleasure to share with you that came to me about a month ago when I was looking through my old book of recipes. When I should mention too that I'm here today with my daughter Betsy, who is the same age as I was when I received this ratty old green sheet of recipes. When I was your age, Betsy, my mom had to go in the hospital to have some serious surgery, and I was expected to maintain the status quo in the home. I was expected to clean and to cook and be her while she was gone. And so I have this handwritten sheet, very ratty, filled with tuna casserole recipe, tuna salad recipe, and meatloaf. And on the back, in a scribbled corner, is a great recipe for chicken piquant. And I really treasure this because it's in my mother's handwriting. I love this recipe. And it occurred to me that a simple pleasure is really having those recipes that you were so fond of growing up, and so many times those recipes get lost, as recipes do, or they change and they're not the same as when you grow up. So I decided to make an album for my daughter Betsy, and what I did was I took some of her favorite recipes. So I'll take my old ratty album and put it away. I'm very happy that there are handwritten recipes that my mother made for me. My mother and I, we were always the closest when we were in the kitchen, but I always tell Betsy that my mom never let me cook. She would let me chop and do dishes, and watch. But by the time I grew up and went to college, or not to college, I didn't go to college, by the time I grew up and was in high school or on my own, I knew how to cook everything she made. Okay, so what we've got here is an album I started for my daughter Betsy, and it says, I don't know if you can see this, but it says Betsy's Family Recipe Book. And it's pretty colorful, and I've got on the side, and I've taped it down so it'll last her a long time. It's not a fancy scrapbook. I just bought one of those, photo albums that has the sticky pages. And what I did was I took pictures of some of my dishes, and I have, because of my line of work, I tend to print everything on the computer. And as much as I would like to have handwritten a lot of it, I write little notes on it. So Betsy, why don't you go ahead and cut this out? So Betsy, what are some of your favorite dishes?
Well, I do love your Mexican brownies, which you're letting me cut out right now. And I also really, really love your spaghetti and your pozole.
Yes. Yeah, these are some of her favorite dishes that she will remember. And she's picky, so it's special when I can get a few that she likes. So I've got her gingerbread cookies in here. We've got beef roulades, chicken and dumplings. And then we've got some pictures of my mom's kitchen and my sister's, and when Betsy was little. And what we're going to do is, this is funny, we have a recipe that we have pinned onto our pantry door, and it's called oatmeal cake, and we make it every Sunday. Well, we try to make it every Sunday. It's a good breakfast, and we took this down off the pantry door, and we're going to go ahead and put this in this book along with other pictures. But what she's got right now is, here I've got a recipe for pozole that you can cut. I'll take the Mexican brownies. We'll go ahead and put the recipe right in to the book. And then we'll take the photograph. May I have the scissors for a second? And I can pull out some flowers from the stickers. We'll take a picture of the brownies that I had taken. And I know not all of you photograph your food, but if you think about taking on this project, don't try to take it on all at once. Start taking pictures as you make the dishes, and then you'll have it. So it's very simple. As you can see, I'm not a graphic artist. I'm a chef and a singer, but not a graphic artist. And I will just, here you go. Why don't you put a butterfly in there? And then you want to close it up. And, you know, if these are treated well, the book will last a long time. I still have photo albums from when I was Betsy's age. So a really good simple pleasure is to save those recipes that you remember preparing for your kids when they were little, or if your children are still small, have them get involved in the project. And so I think that that would be a great way to be able to have that. And then as they get older, they'll have all the memories of when you put the album together, as well as the days that you made the dishes. And here I've written a little note. It says, "Dear Betsy, here is a collection of some of your favorite recipes growing up. I love cooking for my sweet Betsy girl. With love, Mom." So I would say as one of my simple pleasures is putting together this album.
Sure.
There you go. Thank you. Hey, Daisy.
Hi, Betsy. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you
This
too.
is
Daisy, Betsy.
absolutely lovely. This is something I would love to do with my daughter, and you two obviously have a very special relationship.
Well, Betsy does most of the cooking when I leave the kitchen, and I'm afraid of that. But
That's very good. Well, it's been wonderful having you.
Thank
It's been a pleasure, as always, and we do look forward to your next show.
me too. Thank you, Daisy. I appreciate it. It was fun working with you today. We'll have some more snacks later, eh? Thank you so much.